So I know a lot of men out there feel that women are all about a man's money. And let's be real, there is a lot of significance in relationships when it comes to finances and what a man can provide. And I agree 100% that women desire financial stability. But I think the idea that it's only about money is a bit misleading. There's a lot more to it we need to understand, not just for the sake of giving giving women a free pass on this issue, but it's to not overlook the other things that are causing problems in our relationships with women. And so one of the things that I get asked a lot is why a woman runs after a man experiences financial problems. And let's start with the first one that I think most people, it's going to be obvious to most people, all right? She runs because she was attached to what you provided and not who you are. So the unfortunate reality is that a lot of people are in the wrong relationship. A lot of people are mismatched and have selected a partner through a faulty selection process. And that includes men as well. And a lot of men have gotten with a woman who never really showed him that she was into him, the man, the person, away from all the nice things he did for her, the gifts, the life he can provide, whatever, maybe paying bills, so on and so forth. And so in his infatuation, in his attachment to her, whatever is attaching him to her, he overlooks a lot of these red flags. And I have to say overlook because, listen, a lot of men, I can't tell y'all how many times I've been DM'd by men who it'll go a little something like this. Man, I need help. You know, I have this girl, you know, she doesn't respect me. You know, we've been having all kinds of problems. You know, there's all these issues. But man, how do I get her back? And I don't mean to laugh, but it's like, wait a minute. You just listed all these bad things, all these issues. You didn't ask me how can I get her to be better? You didn't ask me what you could do differently in the situation. You're asking, how can I get her back? So ignoring the issues that she brings to the table, that man is so infatuated or attached to her that he still wants to be with her. And so it's those types of situations where, yeah, even though she's using him for money, he doesn't see it. He doesn't understand it. And some of y'all we've seen homeboys be with women that we're like, man, she's using that man. But he's so locked in, he refuses to accept the reality of it. And so when that type of man gets with that kind of a woman and the money goes away, well, she goes with it. Because that's what she's put the value in. That's what she came for. That's what she was staying for. And that's why she tolerated being with you. Now, for the man who has gone through this, that might be very hurtful to hear. And I ain't trying to hurt your feelings, but I'm trying to give you honesty and realness so that you can make better decisions going forward. I also don't want you to fall into a pitfall of bitterness because now you project this experience onto women in general. This isn't a women in general issue. This is the type of woman you allowed yourself to entertain. And when you can learn how to make better decisions, you can get better results. So, bottom line is, yes, when she's not really into who you are, we have a problem. So I'll say this. For those of you who might be thinking, well, then how do we know she's really into us? Again, how does she treat you outside of when money, gifts, and things of that nature are involved? Does she want to spend time with you? Does she show you love? Does she pour into you? What does she do for you? Now, when I say what does she do for you, I don't mean that she needs to be buying you stuff too. And for some people, that might be a requirement. I'm not saying that needs to be it. But what I am saying, she should be doing something to balance out this, to reciprocate what you pour into her. She should be making your life easier in some kind of way. She should be accommodating you in some kind of way. Does she do this, especially when money's not involved? And so it's up to you to create environments or situations with a woman that you're dating or getting to know where it's not all about the glitz, the glamour, and what you can do for her. That's why, there's a lot of men who've gotten themselves in trouble because in trying to impress the woman, you bring out all the tricks and you're buying this and spending on that and taking her to this concert and this and that. But you're not focusing on, do we vibe? Do we have a connection? Are we on the same page? You know what I'm saying? And again, can she pour into me how I can pour into her? When I say how I can pour into her, not in this, it has to be equal as far as exactly what you do for her. She has to do exactly the same thing for you. No, it's I can make her life better and easier. She makes my life better and easier. However we accomplish that, that has to be the goal. All right, now actually before we move on to the next point, let me throw this in there. Many men have become blinded by what she lacks and what she is not pouring into you because of the sex. All right? And I have to say it, sometimes not even because the sex is so freaking amazing. It's just that maybe you always wanted to have sex with this woman. Maybe she's so beautiful, whatever the case may be, and you're just so excited and happy about this consistent sex that you're getting from her right now. And that is causing you to overlook things. Or yes, maybe it is that damn good. I'm not gonna lie, I've heard plenty of stories of men losing brain cells and not thinking straight because the sex was freaking amazing, all right? Or the things that she did sexually was freaking amazing. Either way, you've got to be mindful to step away and say, okay, remove the sex. The same way we have to remove money out the equation to go deeper and see, do we really vibe with each other? We need to remove the sex to see if we really vibe with each other. This is why you got to be careful with how quick you want to move forward with her sexually and be honest with yourself about how much that affects your decision-making process, all right? Whether you believe in waiting or not, it is beneficial for you to give yourself enough time when you are considering something real with this woman to see what do we really have here, because the sex will cloud the judgment. And it has led plenty of men into the wrong relationships. So you want to make sure you avoid that happening to you. All right, so now the second reason women run when men have financial problems is because you lost yourself when you lost the money. So here's what I mean by that. Recently, there was a situation I was working out with my trainer, and he explained to me, he said he had a homeboy he had a homegirl, I'm sorry, who said, I forgot how the story goes. All I know is that the conversation included where she told him that she lost attraction to her man because he lost his job, okay? And he was expressing to me how messed up that was and how crazy that is. And because again, I'm a coach, I've sat down with so many people, so I know when there's pieces of the story missing. And I was like, nah, I think there's something else to this. Tell me more. And then what happened was what occurred after he lost his job, she mentioned how he was constantly complaining and whining and dwelling in misery. And I said, stop, that's it right there. The issue, this isn't to say there aren't plenty of women who are so attached to the money that they lose attraction when the money's gone. But what I'm telling you is this. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's not the loss of the job, the loss of money. It's how you handled it as a man and how you continue to handle it. So there's a lot of men who think we aren't able to be vulnerable and have these moments of quote unquote weakness in front of a woman. I don't agree with that. I believe that the right woman can handle a moment of weakness. The problem becomes when we want to dwell in that weakness. So again, it's one thing to be a man who expresses his frustration and hurt, disappointment over the loss of a job. It's another thing to be a man who whines and complains about it, who makes himself a victim, therefore making himself powerless and doesn't instill any confidence in his woman that he's going to do something about this. And so now her lack of attraction is because you've lost your masculinity. You've lost your strength. You lost your power. And so how is she supposed to look at you the same way? But let's just say, okay, she works through that moment and she toughs it out and says, nah, I love my man, I'm gonna stick by him. But now let's say for the next few weeks, you consider to you slide into a depression, or maybe not depression, but you slide into laziness. You slide into, I'm just gonna play video games. You don't show her you're doing anything with yourself, whether that be to regain employment or whether that be to find something else to add purpose in your life. You've got to understand that when you lose purpose, you can lose attraction, because women are drawn to men who walk in purpose. Plain and simple. And that brings out your masculinity. Like, I believe one of the great ways to improve your masculine energy, what you're exuding, is to find something to conquer. Whether that be building something, work, deeper purpose, whatever, some kind of challenge, hitting the gym hard and having some real goals and being consistent and showing discipline. All these things help you walk in greater confidence and masculinity, which make you more attractive to women. And here's the thing, for some of you who say, nah, they just money hungry and that's all they care about. Consider the fact that there's a lot of broke men in relationships. There's a lot of women who stay with broke guys. So if it was only about money, why are those men able to maintain the situation? And granted, a lot of those situations there's a lot of unhealthy, toxic stuff going on both ends. However, the point is, it isn't always just about that. And so you have to consider, okay, yes, I can have my moment, but and forget for her sake, forget for how she views you. For your sake, you have to learn how to bounce back. You have to learn how not to dwell in things. I have a rule. I only give myself max 3 days. Whatever it is, I'm only dwelling in whether it be grieving, sadness, whatever. I got 3 days to work through this, and then it's back at it. And not in an unhealthy way, like, okay, I'm just gonna run through 3 days and I'm still feeling hurt and I'm gonna suppress it and move on. No, I'm gonna do what's necessary in those 3 days to get this out of my system. Whether that's having a long cry to get all the tears out, listen, because we all hurt, we've all been there. Whether it's that, whether it's, writing letters, as I have in my book, Live After Heartbreak, as a way to detox emotionally, whatever you need to make sure, all right, I'm good, I'm back to being focused, let's get back to work. And that's it. And when you show that you can bounce back, now she doesn't lose respect for you, she actually gains respect for you. Because now she sees you can take a hit and get right back up. Now she sees, okay, he's a man that I can trust, that when times get rough, he's gonna figure out a way to make things happen. Because we all know life will hit us sometimes. It's unrealistic to think that no one's gonna ever have a bad day or a bad moment. But how you handle it says a lot about you and will impact that woman's willingness to stay with you in a relationship. All right, so now the third thing is, plain and simple, another reason why women run when men have financial problems is because women need security. Plain and simple. I'm sure many of you guys have heard it where, men need respect, women need security. Doesn't mean we don't need both on both sides. It just means that those are the highest priorities for a lot of people, for the average woman versus the average man. And so when you have financial problems, that can create insecurity in the relationship, instability. I don't know where we're going with this. And again, the key isn't what happened in that moment. The key is, are you showing her that you can lead the relationship out of that? That I can handle this, that I can bounce back from this. Okay, trust that I'm gonna get back to work. I'm gonna find ways to make money. And I feel the need to say this. If you ever watch my videos on the other channel, sometimes things hit my spirit and I gotta mention it, right? So I think we live in a world now where a lot of men have become so prideful to where they won't do certain types of work just to put money in their pocket. It's like, well, if it doesn't pay enough, or they view the job as beneath them, or whatever the case may be, or it doesn't give a certain status, there are a lot of men, I'm not saying all, who turn, shun at that. They just scoff at that idea of doing that kind of job. And I think that, listen, when you're going through a rough time, or when you are unemployed, you have to have the mentality of, all right, I'm going to do what I need to do to make things work. Now, again, I wouldn't want you to take a job at the detriment of where you belong, all right? And if you have a certain purpose, if God is leading you in a certain way, you stick with that. Outside of that, though, if you have an opportunity to at least put some money in your pocket for now, when it is a situation that calls for it, and here's the thing, even if your girl can handle it for right now, that doesn't mean let her handle it all. You could still try to put something in your pocket to at least contribute, or at the very least, find other ways to take the burden off her back. Whether that be handling things around the house, handling certain errands, whatever, so you at least show you are a man that's resourceful and can be counted on, and that's just gonna sit on the couch doing nothing, watching TV, playing video games all day. Again, that's not gonna make a woman wanna stay with you. That's not gonna make a woman be attracted to you. That's only gonna cause a greater detachment and disconnect in that relationship. So you gotta understand that she needs security, and whatever you can do to help her feel more secure, it is your responsibility as a man to do that if you want a successful and happy relationship. All right, so those were 3 reasons why women run when a man has financial problems. But I want to give a couple more things for you guys to consider, all right? So for those of you who are struggling with accepting this reality or not internalizing it in a very negative way, consider this. If many men, when they lose their job and their finances, women run. And on the flip side, if a woman completely lets herself go, there's a lot of men who will run or want to run from that relationship. Does it make either of them, quote unquote, right or wrong? It's not even about right or wrong. The reality is that people don't get into relationships to have to deal with lack of attraction or even being dead broke, all right? They're hoping to create stability, harmony, attraction, being able to pour into each other. When you remove these things, there are certain things that men value highly. There are certain things that women value highly. And yes, some people may stay despite it, but are they willing to give their partner their best selves during it? Meaning, okay, you might say, well, yeah, if my woman let herself go, I would still stay. I wouldn't run. All right, but would you want her the same? Would you still treat her as well? I'm not saying there aren't guys who wouldn't, but let's be real. Depending on how far off she falls off, it's going to have a negative impact. And again, consider this. It's not simply the fall off. It's her unwillingness to do anything about it. It's her dismissing how it makes you feel. It's the fact that you know she's capable, but she still won't do it. That's what pisses you off. That's what turns you off even more. That's what frustrates you. And guess what? That's what frustrates her too. Because when you lose your job, and now you're not bouncing back. You're not doing what you need to do to make things work, to find a way to create some kind of stability in the household. Now she's looking at you like it's not the loss, it's you ain't doing anything about it. It's you're neglecting how it's making her feel. It's the fact that she knows you're capable or believes you are, and yet you are being lazy and not applying yourself correctly when that is the case. So I bring this example to you to say, listen, this type of stuff happens on both sides. It's just in different ways, but the principles are the same, all right? And so when we accept and understand this, then I think we can not hold on to it in a very negative way. We take it as this is how we're wired. This is life. You know what I'm saying? But we have to make sure we're doing our part if we don't want to have these negative situations. The next thing I want to mention real quick is if we want to avoid having these moments, we've got to be better with planning ahead, all right? Now, granted, some things you just can't plan for. Life is going to throw at you. But we've got to be honest with ourselves when we have not set ourselves up to handle moments of loss of income, loss of job, whatever the case may be. So I simply want to encourage any man watching this to make sure you establish a lifestyle while you are working that isn't just living above your means, that you are being able to invest, save, create a structure so where if you do lose your job, you will be okay for the next 6 months to a year. Whatever your preference is. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give you specifics on that. But I do want to say you have to have some kind of plan in place. And again, having a plan in place will diminish some of the concerns we have here on how the women will react in those moments. Because again, now she sees you are a man who is thinking ahead. You're a man that she can trust will still be able to handle the situation and make things, allow things to still work while this bad thing has been thrown at you guys. All right. So plan ahead, budget, talk to someone, a financial advisor, whatever the case may be. But don't just think, well, I'm single now, so I don't need to do all that. Nah, you want to live your life like that now because, hell, again, it's not just about the woman, it's about you and you being able to in the best position for yourself as well. All right, and so now the last thing I just want to mention to you guys is this. Let's just say you lost your job, but you are the guy who is doing something about it. You're not dwelling in things. You're doing your best. You are putting forth a real effort to make things right. And yet this woman is not being patient with you. This woman is not being understanding. This woman is not supporting you. She is just leaving you, leaving your side and saying, F it, I'm done, right? It's a blessing in disguise. That might be a hard pill to swallow, but if this woman doesn't respect your efforts and how you handle something that again, you didn't ask for, it just happened, then that shows you she was never serious about you. That shows you that she was never really the woman that you needed. And you were probably blind to this or overlooking this for various reasons, as we mentioned earlier, maybe sex, maybe an infatuation, deeper attachment, things you haven't healed from, all right? But now, her walking away, this situation has brought about the reality that you two do not belong together. So, when you know you've done your best, and she still walks, let her. Focus on what you need to do. Get into a better place and understanding, you know what? If she ain't for you, it's because someone better is out there waiting for you, who will support you, who will appreciate you as long as you are always doing your part as a man. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Everything I'm about to lay out for you is something that you should address properly first. In most cases, because sometimes we don't have a clear view of what's really going on. Sometimes our perceptions of someone isn't completely accurate.